a warehouse filled with paraphernalia, a fenced-in area filled with bags and bags of dried marijuana plants. All of this evidence comes from a dozen elaborate indoor marijuana grow operations in the Lincoln, Nebraska area. Police found them during a 6-week period beginning in early March of 2010.
We're used to discovering and dismantling and investigating 2, 3, 4 indoor grows a year that consist of anywhere from a small number of plants, 4, 6, 8, 12, to at the most 100 to 125 plants, to now dismantling homes with over 1,000 plants actively growing inside. It's a significant shift in a perspective.
The street value of the marijuana is around $14 million, and that's only the plants that were actively growing when the Lincoln-Lancaster Drug Task Force busted them.
In the dismantling these grows, we found evidence of a much longer term operation and evidence of many more plants that would have been, so that would be, in our opinion, a low number.
Some of the operations had been going on for years in all kinds of houses. Most were unoccupied, and neighbors saw a few things that didn't seem right.
We noticed it was real strange, and we were real tied up between being nosy and thinking something was really bad. These 2 Orientals would come, and as they're coming down the street, they'd open the garage door. They had an opener, and they'd go right straight in the garage, and they'd close the door before they even got the brake lights off. And you'd never see them again for probably 45 minutes to an hour, and then they'd back out and they'd leave, and that'd be it for the day.
At each grow house, detectives noticed a similar theme.
It just seems like many of the places that we would serve search warrants, the neighbors would come up to us later and say, yes, I knew it, I knew what was going on, I just never called, or I smelled marijuana, I've been smelling marijuana for a year, but I just never called.
Evidence from one grow house would often lead detectives to another. The grows had similar characteristics, like blacked out windows, security signs out front, underground wiring in a neighborhood where most houses had overhead wires, and electric diversion before the meter, creating a safety issue.
The homes involved that had electrical diversions, the diversions themselves were not done by certified electricians or weren't done to a standard or code acceptable by the community. So you had live wires running all over the place, crisscrossing the basements, drilled through floors, through foundations, etc. That made it dangerous for groups officers to pass through.
Then there was the mold and the chemicals.
These are hydroponic grows in the sense that the growth and pesticides and plant foods were all mixed into a large trash can and then sprayed daily on these plants. That spray would be on the leaves that the officers had to pass through to dismantle the grow. They'd be on the floor, they'd be in the soil when you're handling the pots, they'd be in the air as particulates as you're walking through and stirring this stuff up.
It's stuff many narcotics officers aren't used to dealing with, but other units are.
Originally, we didn't have our Clan Lab meth team helping us process the scenes, but as these continued to go and get larger, we did call in our Clan Lab, or our methamphetamine team, to assist us in the dismantling of the marijuana grows.
The dismantling and the cultivation led to thousands of dollars worth of destruction to the homes.
There's just a considerable amount of damage and repair and cleanup done before these houses can ever be lived in again, and which would certainly impact their property value and the property value of their neighbors.
One man knows that all too well.
All of this was full of dirt up to, about here, potting soil.
He owns 2 of the homes his tenants turned into indoor grows.
My analogy when people ask me about it is, it's like turning the inside of a house into a greenhouse or a hothouse. That's the closest I can get. Everything from the air conditioning and the heating and cooling ducts, we've got to bring companies in here to clean all of everything. Back here is where they cut a hole in the floor and brought the venting tubes up from the basement area, and then they ran it up through the original attic access and then tied them off to the wind turbines up on the roof. I mean, this was a sophisticated operation. This was not rookies that came in here, and it was a system.
The growers drilled holes in the foundation to access the power line to the house, installed circuit breakers and switches to run everything, and had plants everywhere.
This was another room down here that, again, these are 12-inch squares on the floor here of tile, and every one of those would have held a plant. Just enough room for them to get in here and fertilize them, water them, harvest them.
Insurance covers only a fraction of the $50,000 cost of making this house livable again. Some of the other houses are simply being ignored. The lawns are overgrown, vehicles are abandoned in the driveway, and they're eyesores.
Some of the owners are associated with the conspiracy to grow this marijuana have been arrested. Their ability to maintain the properties have been impacted because they're in jail or in custody or fled the jurisdiction.
And while the growers may be gone, the evidence remains, meaning issues for the Lincoln Police Department's property unit.
Well, you take it one day at a time and just deal with it. It's overwhelming. When you first start, you got a couple operations and it's not a big deal. And then they keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and you're just like, okay, what am I going to do with all this stuff? And just find that you have to deal with it.
Luckily, a large building usually reserved for vehicles involved in accidents was empty and became the secure storage facility for all of the equipment used in the elaborate marijuana grow operations.
So that was interesting to be able to bring it in, and then to think, how do we keep so much stuff separated and know that it was with a certain address or certain house. And so that was important to try to place it in the room so we can use all of our space, but yet have a little bit a space that this pile came from this address.
Now separate pallets hold evidence from each grow: the mercury bulbs, reflectors, dirt, ballasts, light switches, timers. But one thing is different about these cases compared to other drug cases.
We have never, as a procedure, kept the drug, which would be the marijuana, stored here. But because of the amount of marijuana, there was no choice but to keep it here. Typically, we would not want to store marijuana or any drug in this building. We just never have, but we really didn't have a choice in this matter because there was so much.
That's because of the decision to prosecute under federal guidelines instead of state ones.
We had to change the way that we did collect the evidence. In state court, we would not take the whole plant and all. Now in federal court, you need to take the root, the leaves, the stems, everything to document that there was in fact a growing plant.
So why Lincoln, a city known more for being the home of the Huskers than anything else?
Don't know yet. We believe there may be some family ties that have brought individuals to Lincoln, Nebraska. Lincoln's fairly rural in location, and the availability of some of the equipment and items necessary for a grow operation are maybe more available, but why Lincoln as opposed to Omaha, why Lincoln as opposed to Kansas City or Grand Island or any community in and near your location, I can't answer that, other than don't be surprised that you don't find them there, because I believe as this grows and the people recognize the profitability of marijuana grows, that this problem becomes more widespread.